Hey everyone, welcome to the Know Your Gear QA Live podcast, episode 316. I did it in one take. I'm impressed with myself. I'm always going to mess it up, I always think, when I'm doing it. All right, and then by doing that, I messed it up. Anyways, I hope everybody had a great week, and I don't know why it's doing this now, but starting a couple episodes ago, when I watch the view you're seeing, the YouTube scene, it's automatically putting closed caption, which means I see immediately, hey everyone, welcome to the New Gear. Anyways, as always, if you're new to the live show, if it's your first time hanging out, put a question mark first. That way I know you're directing whatever you're directing towards me, either a comment or a question. I try to answer super chats. For those, it's been a while since I explained how super chats work. I answer whatever questions I can find interesting, but the show is 1 hour long, like all live shows pretty much on YouTube. And so you're like, wait a minute. So we usually go 2 hours plus. It's because, as always in the beginning, super chats are bonus. I always take the extra hour in the back to answer super chats. That's why sometimes I don't answer them in order or right when they come up, because I always said if you did super chats, I would go longer. So that's what that's all about. For those that don't remember, for the rest of you, thank you for joining us. And as always, if you see somebody with a blue name and a blue wrench, that means they're a moderator. They're here to help us all. Not just you, just like everybody, the whole world. And what else? Also, thank you, channel members. They're in green with avatar, and they just got to the. I think it's Monday's video, but it might be next Wednesday's video. They just got the preview of that, so hope you guys enjoyed that. Okay, so as always, we're going to start with some early riser questions. Some people that came and left a question at the beginning, I saw another question I want to grab because I want to answer it. Okay, so let's jump into some questions. All right. First question came from Fred. Fred says, "Hey Phil, a mini Plexi 20 watts with a good attenuator, like the Tone King." So I think he's talking about the Tone King amp that has a built-in attenuation in it. "Will it sound like a real Plexi cranked, or am I better looking for something else?" I have learned, for me, just for me, an attenuator is like a tone control on a guitar. And what I mean by that is it will, as you kind of like intensify it, in other words, the attenuation, as you go from zero attenuation to, a tick back or a couple ticks, and it doesn't matter what attenuator you use. Like I said, I like the Tone King one. It's really good. And, as I squish, go back and squish the amp down, just like the tone control, it just gets sort of like this, the amp gets just mush. I just never like it. So if I find that I have to attenuate, like a lot of them will have like 5 clicks, 1 and 5 being the most attenuated. In other words, the most it's kind of suppressing the power from getting to the speaker. I find that's the worst for me. And to get the Plexi, part of the thing about the Plexi, for me, is that when you do that and you get that kind of really compressed dark sound, to me, it's not the Plexi anymore. And I always want to say, I asked, it was a funny conversation I had just this week with a friend, and mentioning a Plexi and saying, a lot of people say the word Plexi, and I know people who haven't heard a Plexi in at least a decade, much less sometimes 2 decades, or ever, and they always refer to Plexi sounds. And so to me, to get the Plexi sound at lower volumes, I've tried all of the culprits that are out there. Obviously, I'm a Friedman junkie. So the small box channel 1, which is supposed to be the cleaner channel, that with the gain cranked at a lower volume, it is a more modern Plexi. It's not gonna be the raw Plexi, but to me, it's better than a Plexi. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a better Plexi than a Plexi to me. It's like what I would like a Plexi to sound like. But I don't like trying to attenuate a Plexi style amp a lot. So there you go. Susan says, "Never heard of a Plexi. Must be getting old." So a Plexi is what we refer to as a Plexi. It's plexiglass front on a Marshall amp that's like gold colored plexiglass. Essentially, just think of the first Marshalls. And to me, you can get that sound a ton of different ways. One of my favorite amps I still stick with is the Hughes and Kettner Tubemeister 5. Please don't confuse any other amps than what I'm talking about. Okay, not the Tonemaster 36, not the Grandmeister, none of those. I mean, they're all great in their own way, but to me, the Tonemaster 5-watt head is like a little magic plexi, and it's still pretty loud. I mean, you put it on that first channel, and you crank the gain. It's just 5 watts. You crank the gain, you crank the master volume, and you get that sound. It's really great. I've actually compared it to my real plexi style Marshall amps, and they sound almost identical without all the roar, because obviously the bigger amps have a lot of wattage. So there you go. There's a lot of great stuff. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Amplifonics and Gain. That is another magical amp. The problem with I would actually just tell everybody, like, go with that amp, but it's so freaking expensive. It's hard to suggest to people. It's like, yeah, just spend $3,000-$4,000, no problem. But if you got it, it's the amp to go with. That's an amp that will never leave. I'd say my collection, but it's not even a collection. It's just my main amps that I play through. That's an amp that's just in there every day to use. It's just a great amp. Sean was saying the Friedman Little Sister. Again, same thing. Yeah, definitely nails it. To me, all those kind of nail it. You can get those really great. I think the Runt kind of has that kind of vibe to it with the lower gain setting. You can kind of get to it. What you're looking for, like everybody always refers to as a thing, what you're looking for is an amp that has a real mid-rangey, full throaty distortion that's very light. In other words, the distortion is not high gain. Of course, with a tube screamer, it pushes it over. And how I test that sound is always with a Strat in the bridge position with a single coil. Because what I've learned is that's the magic. If you plug into a Marshall, like plexi style amplifier, especially the Marshall ones, and you plug in a Strat, even if you're not a Strat fan, with a single coil, something like that Strat right there, on the bridge, no tone control backed off or anything, and hit it open with a full chord, it sounds huge. It does not sound thin. It sounds huge. And so that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking for that tone. The other thing I would mention, and I really believe this, the best early Marshall tones I've ever got at low bedroom volumes, and I'm assuming that's what you're going for because you're saying attenuation, is the pedals, the plexi pedal. Absolutely. I mean, you guys seen it, I've reviewed a $1,300 preamp, plexi preamp pedal, and it was not as good as that pedal. Nothing is to me is as good as that. And like I said, I know there's other great Marshall pedals out there. I love the Love pedals. I love Lawrence Petros pedals. Those are really great. I highly recommend them as well. But I'm talking about if you're just trying to nail that original kind of Marshall tone, and not a tweaked version of a Marshall or an improved Marshall, if you're just trying to go for that raw, kind of like what you remember a Marshall sounded like without, added gain or compression, that's what I would recommend. I hope that kind of helps. I love those conversations. It's a really great conversation. I like the conversation that I just like to talk about, like when we refer to the Dumble tones, the plexi tones. I like to just refer to them as tones. The reality is no one really knows what those sounds really are, and they mean something different to everybody else, or to everybody, to each other people. I don't know what I'm saying. To somebody, they mean something else. Probably what I meant. Let's see. John says, hey, I use a typical Kaiser type capo, but I find it pulls the strings out of tune on my Wilshire. Any suggestions for a good capo that doesn't do that? So my guess is you have the wrong Kaiser capo. So let's see if I can show you guys this. I'm going to show you, because a lot of people don't know this about capos, much less Kaiser ones. Kaiser capo. Let me go here. And hopefully we'll be able to go to some trusted site like, hopefully it's here. And this is where I see probably your problems happening, because I'm on the Sweetwater site and it's also probably looking confusing to you too. So let's go to Kaiser's website, if you don't mind me taking a second. I'm sure on their website, the answer will be illuminated. So before I get there, while I buy time while I'm looking, let me tell you what's going to happen. Kaiser makes different kinds of capos. Okay. So let me share my web with you. So here's a quick change. Acoustic. See the word acoustic capo? All right. and then there'll be one for classical guitar, and then there'll be one for electric guitar. These all say acoustic, but trust me, there are different ones. See, there's a short one. We need to find them. They may have stopped making them. Maybe that's the problem. Excuse me. Because they're supposed to have different spring tensions. So in other words, one for an electric guitar, one for an acoustic guitar. What I can tell you is that's your problem, is they set the capo, the spring, so it compresses like a 12 to 52 gauge string on an acoustic guitar. When you put it on a electric guitar or something like that, it's just too strong and it pushes everything sharp. So that's one of the problems. So I'm looking, all of them seem to be labeled now acoustic, but they definitely did for a long time. And I'm sure I'm still going to find it. Aha, there it is. I found it. So there you go. See, this one says electric guitar. So this one's specifically for electric guitar, right? So they'll have different ones. And I believe they still, I'm right. So obviously I verified I'm right. They have one for classical as well. So you have to buy the right Kaiser capo for that. You may be able to swap those springs. I don't know. But what I can tell you, if we go here, if you don't mind me taking an extra second here, let's do, I'm going to show you one more thing real quick. For those of you that now are like, what? Because I'm sure some of you are like, wait a minute, I only have one capo. So yes, you can use an acoustic one on an electric guitar, but you are going to find that problem a lot. That's why they make cool ones like, there's the Shub. The Shub works here. Let me share what I'm showing you. So like here's the Kaiser. There are ones that are, see here, it's an adjustable one. This G7th is adjustable. The D'Addario one right here, this one, that's what this is for. See? So this one, that's why it's called the Tri-Action Capo. This one is designed, this little, oh, sorry, let me share here. This little dial right here allows you to adjust the spring tension so that you can make it for your classical, your acoustic, standard acoustic, or a 12 string even, because you even need a stronger cable for probably 12 string, and for electric guitar. So there you go. Now, sometimes with the classical, you will need a longer arm right here. I'm just going to call that an arm, but that's why they make this. So that is the problem with your guitar. So the fix is you just need a different capo if you want to use a quick release. You got to understand the whole point of the spring loaded capo is for quick change out, quick release, just go. Right? So that's the whole point. It's not necessarily a better capo than any other capo. It was just made so it's obviously when you're playing on stage, you can take it off, get back to, whatever open tuning you're playing at or whatever tune you're playing at and go back. So, so that's why you need to just be aware that those exist that way and you can do that. So here you go. Like on Kaisers, I have electric one and an acoustic one, and then I have the tri-action because it's universally, I just think it's a little better. And actually, I like the Shub capos and the Ned Steinberger capo as well. Those are all really good. So those, something to think about. So there you go. Music Freak says, looking forward to the Schecter video you hinted about last week. Yes. In fact, there's a super chat question that came in, and I'm going to share it with you because it came in early. It was an early riser super chat. If you don't mind me looking for it real quick. From Litvey says, hey, Phil. Oh, no. Okay, so it's about that video. So there's two things in that video that came up, and I want to talk about it. So one of the questions, and I'll incorporate Litvey's in there as well. And hopefully when the video comes out, because it's already done, so when it comes out, you guys, this information will help you if you watch that video, and maybe it'll interest you in some way. The first question was, am I going to keep the Schecter that I reviewed? And I'm going to tell you why it ended up happening the way it does. I'm going to share this with you if you don't mind. I'm sharing more stuff with you. Hold on a second. Let me get rid of this screen. And a lot of sharing today. So this here is a Sweetwater purchase I did. This order placed on February 3rd of 2021. This was an order I did. I bought this stuff, obviously. And if you guys recall, I did a video with the ESP LTD EC1000 with the piezo. And it was like, this guitar blows me away or whatever, they put the clickbait title as. And so anyways, and then I did a later video where I modified it with the Schecter, the Seymour Duncan P-rails and all this stuff. So this is when I bought all this stuff to make those videos. If you see this purchase, like I said, in February of 2021, I also had bought the Schecter C1 Silver Mountain Toxic Venom. And I bought that guitar because I really wanted it. And also I wanted to do a video, and that's what I was doing with those guitars and all that stuff. I bought all that stuff at Sweetwater, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy all this stuff and I'm gonna make some videos. I did the ESP video, and then what had happened, and you know, like I said, I'm a more tenured, I know it was only 2 years ago, but you gotta understand, more tenured YouTube channel than I was before. It's just a reality of my work, okay? I bought that guitar because I really like that finish. I have a video about that guitar that you'll see this week coming out. The patrons and the members already saw the video, so they'll understand what I'm saying. I really like that guitar. I really like that finish. The guitar really spoke to me. What happened when I bought that guitar? If you go on YouTube right now, for those of you interested, if you type in Schecter, you know, Silver Mountain guitar, you'll see around that time, because that guitar just recently had came out around that time. Schecter sent one to like every YouTube channel, right? And then every YouTube channel did a video called like, "This is the most amazing guitar ever." And I'm different now. Now I would have not cared. Back then in 2021, you got to understand, COVID was happening. People were stressed. The world was stressed. And I was thinking, like, I bought those guitars, and I like I said, you saw it. You saw the invoice. That's my real account with Sweetwater. I bought those guitars, and I bought them to make videos. And the ESP video killed it, knocked it out of the park. I don't know how many views it got, but 100,000, 200,000 views. And I thought those were going to be great videos, so that's why I wanted to do them. But also I did them because at that point I kind of realized what I've realized now, which is 90% of, like, I work with a small group of companies that work with the channel. And I've told you guys this before. I don't know why it is the way it is, but a lot of companies, like, I don't know if they don't like the deep dive videos. I don't know if they just don't like the channel. I don't know if it's just the luck of draw, but a lot of companies like Schecter had sent guitars in the past, and then like Fender, they just stop. They just don't send them anymore, and they don't respond to emails, and it's just kind of that ends the relationship, which is fine. As I've said a million times before, that is not a criteria to be on this channel. I don't have to be your friend. You don't have to send me free gear. You don't have to pay me. I just have to find it interesting, or by the transitive properties of that, you find it interesting, which then gets me excited to do it. So when I bought that guitar, I started making that video of that Silver Mountain, and at the time my brain was like, I'm going to say I bought it because I did, and everybody's going to tell me I got it for free because they just sent them out to all these channels. And I just couldn't get it in my head to make the video. So I go, okay, I'm not going to make the video. The guitar was for me anyways. I really wanted the guitar. And so I had it sitting around, and I think a couple months went by, and anyways, I sold it. I just decided, like, I go, I'm not doing the video with it. I'm not really using it. I was really busy, so I sold it. And then I was thinking about obviously for a while, and that's what really happened. After about a year or two, I kept thinking, like, I really like the guitar. And I think what they did is they discontinued the guitar, I believe, this year, because it's no longer on the Schecter website. When I was doing the video, I couldn't find the information. And I started thinking about the guitar going, I don't think they're going to make it anymore. And knowing my luck, I'll still want it in a year or two. And then everybody will be charging, what they go for new is used. So I ended up buying it again. So look, just so you see the insanity of what I go through here. So like I said, this is my thing. I remember, oh yeah, that's when we bought those Behringer pedals on the live show. You guys were part of that. Anyways, so I bought that in 2021, right? So if we go to here, okay, you can see I also buy I bought some other stuff. Here, let me go back, get into this account. You guys are gonna be like, what else did he buy? I would show you everything. I don't really care. In fact, you're going to see probably something interesting, maybe. Oh yeah, you will. Okay. So you can see, I just bought it again. See, 5,523. This time I paid $1,207. Last time I paid $1,148. So I actually had to pay almost $50, $60 more this time than I did last time. And then, like I said, because I'm always upfront with you guys about stuff, I bought this guitar. This is a video I wanted to do. As you can see right here, there's an order placed on the 24th last month, and I paid nothing. It's because Sweetwater sponsored these. See, they sent this stuff out. That's why the Line 6, as I said in that video, was sent to me by Sweetwater. I'm doing a video with DR Strings. They'll see that. And yes, I also just bought another EVH amp for some reason. So anyways, my point is I bought the guitar again, and this time I decided I wasn't sure I was going to do a video. In fact, really what happened was, that's what's great about having you guys support, you know, through just a community of support, is I was putting I was playing the guitar the other day. I talked about it on last Friday's show, and I love that guitar so much, that Schecter. And I was like, I just really like this guitar. And I go, well, why make a video? And I go, you know what? Why not just make a video? And the video is a deep dive, and it's actually my favorite one I've ever done, with some cool information that I like, and a new thing that you guys suggested that's cool. But I thought, hey, I'm just going to share my love of this guitar and why I like it. I know that's on a tangent, guys. I apologize for this, but that was the question, is am I going to keep it? I'm actually going to keep it. Right now, it's downstairs with no strings on it, because it was in the video. And of course, I haven't put it together since the video, because I take the guitars apart, obviously, in the videos. And I'm still thinking about changing out a pickup in it, but I might not and leave it alone. We'll see. So that's how come I bought that same guitar twice over a period of 2 years. And like I said, now if I bought a guitar and I notice that company sent, well, that's what actually happens a lot now, is I'll buy a guitar, or, you know, a patron will buy a guitar and send it to the channel, and we'll do a video. And then I notice like that company sends them out to YouTubers. I just go ahead and do it. I figure it's no big deal. Like I said, I tell you guys always if a company's involved or not in the videos. So that's why I ended up buying it twice. It was kind of stupid. And I also, there's a saying I tell my wife all the time. I'm gonna share it with you guys, that I say to her all the time. I'll say, my nerves are on my skin. I'll even say it to her sometimes. I'm like, oh, are your nerves on your skin? That's my way of saying, are you sensitive? I'm sensitive. I'll say it, I'm sensitive. My nerves are close to my skin. I'll even say it like that. Like, my nerves are close to my skin. It just means they're more on the surface and less inside. And I feel like, especially during the first year into COVID, my nerves were definitely on my skin, because, as you guys know, I was repairing guitars for pretty much a living. That was most where our income was coming from, repairing guitars. And then when COVID happened, you know, I had to shut that down, so that I couldn't have anybody come to my shop, because my shop's at my house. And so that killed almost, you know, that killed the huge part of my revenue. And like everybody, I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen next. And then, of course, I assumed, which I was wrong, like a lot of people, that, you know, no one's going to buy guitars anymore because of COVID. And so I thought, okay, the YouTube channel's dead. The repair shop's not going to be pulling in repairs because I can't meet people. And so for a little while there, it was a little during 2021, obviously February of 2021, because you're thinking, okay, it's been a year since COVID when I did those. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to keep trying this stuff. And it was a weird time. And I only share this stuff because I think a lot of us, I think maybe it's helpful if you guys hear other people talk about those kind of things. I don't know. Plus, I don't know. I don't see no reason why not to tell you guys that stuff. Okay. Let's get into another question, another subject. Oh, which is came from Litvey, which is about that video as well. So the new video, you'll see that obviously the Schecter guitar in there. In there, he wanted to know why I was using Litvey. I apologize for losing it, the comment, but it was why I was using, in the video, I'm using 2 amps. I'm using the Fender Tonemaster Deluxe Reverb and the Engel Fireball 25. Even I'm almost forgetting what video amps are in there. And so his question was, do I still have a vintage, or sorry, not vintage, a Tonemaster Deluxe Reverb? And the answer is yes. And here's what happened, so you guys know. I did a video. I bought that amp, as you guys remember. So you guys remember, we were on the live show, and you guys said I should review that amp. And then I said, if I can find one on a deal, I will buy it. And then that was Friday, obviously, Friday show. Saturday, as you guys know, I was in the Guitar Center with Ralph, and Guitar Center had them on sale for, I don't know, $50 off or something, $100 off. And so Ralph said, hey, the amp's on sale. Didn't you say yesterday you're going to buy it if it's on sale? So I bought it, and I did the video, and I did a video called 10 Reasons Why You Shouldn't Buy It and 10 Reasons Why You Should. Of course, most people focus on the 10 reasons why you shouldn't. And of course, that's obviously, we lean on that too, because that's what gets the clickbait to get it in there. And in there, I want to talk about this. I said that I really like the amp. In fact, if you know me from the podcast, you know that most of the things when I was saying the 10 things, the 10 reasons not to buy, those are things I mostly didn't care about. I just think somebody potentially about to give up $1,000 of their money might care about. The one critique I have with that amp is I think it's just priced too much. And I said that I just can't justify the price. Well, so I sold it, and I essentially got what I paid for it out of it. Not all of it, but most of it. And of course, I made money from the video, so we'll call that a win. And then later on, I was able to find one used and did a trade for it. And so because of that, it made it more reasonable to have. I probably have $400 into that amp now. So I will tell you this, and I'm just how it's my personality. I'm sorry. The 65 Deluxe Reverb Tonemaster, like I said, I love it. It's a great amp. But at $600 and below, I think it's a magical purchase. And I think if you're thinking about getting it, you should get it. For me, though, it's hard to justify anything more than that when I have a tube one. I have the 65 Deluxe Reverb original. And the main reason I wanted to do it was, one, I like it, but also the reason why I was in the video is I've been saying this for the last few months. I've been catching this on the podcast. My 65 Deluxe Reverb has the stock speaker in it, but it originally had a Vintage 30 that I liked. I'm putting the Vintage 30 back in it so I can use and now the Tonemaster will be the version I use on the videos. And that's another reason why I decided to do that. So that's why I did that for. Like I said, it made financial sense. And kind of like when I talked about the PRS I bought last week, it's like, look, these things I want, but I have to justify it on so many levels. Not only how much I want it, do I have room for it? How much money am I spending on it? I mean, these things matter to me. I'm just sorry. It's just because, these aren't needs. These are all wants, and I have to figure out how to justify a want. So, the El Dunarino, is it Duderino? I'm going to say Duderino. Dude. If I'm messing up your name, I'm sorry. But I think it's like the Duderino, right? El Duderino says the Kiesel behind Phil's head is still my favorite. I went back and watched the opening. So this is that Kiesel Aries 2. If you guys recall, they sent that. I ordered one. They couldn't have it in time, so they wanted to ask if I could do a video for release, and they sent that one. I did a live unboxing video of it, and oh my goodness, it's so funny. I was like, I was waiting for them to send the RA label for it back. I'm figuring they're going to ask for it back, right? Because they sent it. And time went by and they hadn't asked for it back. So I kept playing it. Here's what's funny about this. I'm not going to say it's my favorite guitar. It's just not. But it's the best guitar I own. It's the best playing and sounding guitar I own. It's not even close. I mean, there's not even a close second. Any guitar. None. I have no guitar that sounds and plays as good as that guitar. And I don't know why. I don't know why it plays and sounds so good. It's really made me like almost to the point where I started laughing, saying, if I ever do another Kiesel, I should probably not order a Kiesel, like me do it. I should probably tell them, pick me out a guitar because apparently you're better at picking out a guitar I like than I am. I absolutely love it. And so now it sucks because they might ask for it back, especially when mine's done. And I can tell right now, I said you before, if they ask for it back, then obviously it'll go. But right now, I am not sending it back. I'll just have to pay the invoice, whatever it is. It's absolutely amazing. Now, if you notice I said something strange, it's the best guitar I own, but it's not my favorite. I would liken that to like saying, if you had dogs, obviously you shouldn't say you have a favorite dog, but if somebody said, if I said my best well-behaved dog is the dog I would take for a walk, right? To the park real quick. But that might not be your favorite dog, right? Maybe your favorite dog's just, there's my favorite guitar is still my Gibson SG and my Kiesel Delos. For some reason, I'm just really bonded to those guitars. And of course, I still like my PRS Mira and the one that Nathan made me and stuff like that. But I mean, those two guitars are the ones that get all my time. So I say favorites. But if tone was the thing and playability was the thing, only thing I care about is just how great something can feel and play. It'd be this guitar. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. So I have some theories. I might do a deep dive on it. I don't know. And then for a side note, I saw Dane is in the chat. Dane Zims from Zims Guitars. I was there this week. He he caught me perfectly. He texted me one morning, and I said he's in the shop. I went and sold him a bunch of guitars. I traded and sold some guitars to him. So I'll tell you guys. So if you are in the Mesa area, Zim's Guitars, I'll tell you what I traded him and sold him, whatever you want to call it. He's got my Parker Nightfly. So from the video I did, I'm keeping just the Parker Fly, but I decided to let go of the Nightfly. He's got my PRS Vela, which I told you I was going to get rid of. And he's got he might not have these still, but I mean, they were there earlier this week. My olive green Chicago Music Exchange SG. And then some other guitars, some of the guitars. I'm just trying to think of the cool ones, like oh, wow, those ones are there. So those were the biggies. Like I said, I got rid of some guitars to cover the PRS, right? Just justify some craziness. Obviously that Schecter that I bought twice. So there you go. And what I'm trying to say is there's some cool gear at his shop. And I always, whenever I do deals with him, I always, he takes care of me. So I always take care of him back. So I always give him a good price on that stuff, so that he can make a little money. But also if any of you ever go to a shop, trust me, whatever he's charging you, you would have paid that at least on Reverb for what if I put it on Reverb, you would either paid that or more for sure. And there's a ton of people in the comments that can absolutely swear by that. So it's not like, don't think of it like I sold to him and now you're going to have to pay an exorbitant rate. We work it out in a way that, trust me, if it was listed on Reverb, you would have paid that or more for sure. Now, a lot of you guys are talking about the olive green SG was dope. It was absolutely amazing. I was sad because I love the guitar, the way it looks. The main issue is, as you guys know, I like my Sunburst one, and I wanted just a backup to that was like it. And the green one was different. I don't know why it was different. It just played a little different. Played great, looked great, but felt a little different, played a little different. So I kept going down the rabbit hole until I finally have the black one now, and the black one's kind of identical. They almost sound and play identical, and that's really what I wanted was. So there you go. Litbay's like, how many likes do you need for the Kiesel deep dive? I don't, because I already owe, because you guys did the likes on, I already got to do the deep dive on the Ivan, or the PRS, and then of course there's some really cool videos. So trust me, I'm hoping what's going to happen is if they do ship the Aries 2 that I ordered, I think that'll even be a better video to do a deep dive of that one and mine and compare those and explain why, what's different. So okay. So let me go back to more stuff. And then this came from Chris, which is a great question. It says, Phil, do you still own the headless Delos? So you guys know I had a Daphne blue, baby blue Delos. I don't own that guitar anymore. Now, here's what's interesting about that. Ralph now has that guitar. He's absolutely says it's his absolute favorite guitar. I'm not making this up. When I sold to him, I sold to him for a stupid cheap price. But anyways, I sold it to him because I'm going to get as you guys know, I have a Delos I love with a headstock that's in copper penny metallic. I want a matching headless copper penny metallic guitar. I don't know why. I just decided one day I really like that Delos, as I've said so many times, and I actually like the headless just as much. They were equal. So I decided since it is a lifetime guitar, it's a guitar that I'm just going to keep, like my Mira and stuff. There's a few guitars that I have that I just love so much that they just, as you guys know, over the years, they just don't go anywhere. But anyways, my point is that instead of having the Daphne blue one, I want to have a copper penny metallic one. So I'm going to have a copper penny metallic one made to match my other one. So I have two matching Deloses, headless and regular. Headless and headed. That's what we call it. So that's what I'm up to. Okay. Let me jump around. I feel like today's going to go a little weird. I just got that feeling. Got that feeling. Okay. I'm just looking for... Hold on. Okay. I was just looking for any comments about, I thought I saw something about, where to, just any thoughts on the market, on the used market and the market. You know what I'm seeing? I keep seeing it everywhere I go. There are, everywhere you go, whether you're on Craigslist or you're on OfferUp, or if you're going to small music stores, right, or even the guitar centers, you keep seeing, I see on a trend right now where they're getting massive amounts of guitars from one person. So you keep seeing a lot of people dumping entire collections of guitars. And that's kind of, remember what we talked about when we talked about COVID and Fender saying, hey, we created like, millions of new guitar players and it's going to be the biggest boom in history of guitars. And I said, I agree with that. Although I also state that I think there was massive amounts of just gear acquisition syndrome, just tons of people buying way more guitars than they ever bought, way more expensive guitars than they ever paid for them. Just all, it's like, it's kind of like again, I can't speak for every country, but in the United States, it's a perfect mix. If you give everybody depression and a check from the government, not all the best decisions got made. So, and if you were ones that made great decisions, good for you. But a lot of people made the decision that felt the best because they needed it the most. So obviously, if you scare the crap out of everybody, depress everybody, and then send them some money in the mail, they tend to buy things maybe they didn't need, or because they were trying to fill that, fill a spot in their soul, and which I could totally relate to. So here's what I'm trying to say. But now, like any party, when it's over, and you sober up, you start realizing like maybe those weren't the best decisions. And so I think you're going to see you're seeing now, right now as we speak, we're seeing the massive dump of gear everywhere. And just everywhere you keep seeing it. I've never seen anything like this, what I'm seeing now. I've seen people going like letting go a couple guitars, thinning the herd, right? Everybody knows if you're into gear, you know the term thinning the herd, right? Thinning the herd, letting stuff go. This is beyond that. This is like, I just sold 20 guitars. I just let go of 7 amps. I just let go of 14 guitars. Massive amounts of just dump off of stuff. And it's weird. I've talked to about a half dozen music stores just recently across the country, all saying the same thing. They're just getting not like, hey, I'd like to sell you my guitar. It's always like, I want you to take all of it. I want you to take all 50 pedals. I want you to take all 16 guitars. I want you to take all 11 amps. Just a massive amount of like, I need you to buy in bulk. And what I'm seeing is two things happening simultaneously. You're seeing the music stores all saying that they're buying at the best deals, right? Because that's the best for a music store. That's the best way to buy. It's almost like, like buying in bulk. You're just like, okay, how about, and you just work out a number and you go, how about, $3,000 for everything? How about, $500 for everything? What about $10,000 for everything? And they take it because they just don't care. And that's great for the stores. But this 3 of the 5 stores told me that they are literally nervous because every time they're excited, they can't even get down from the high of like, I can't believe I bought all that at that deal. What a great deal. And now I have this stuff. The next day, another phone call, another person trying to sell them a massive amount of gear. And so they're like, oh, okay, well now, I'm excited to have all this stuff, but also everybody's dumping. So this becomes a little scary. So I'm just thought I'd talk about this as we always talk about the stuff that's on the market. If you're out in the market, sadly enough, what I would tell you is if you're thinking about thinning your herd, I would do it sooner than later because obviously, as the saying goes, first come, first serve. I would imagine whoever's out there buying it up, they are going to taper off and then become more selective very shortly. In fact, I would bet it won't even make it till July, to the end of July before you start seeing stores immediately saying, okay, we'll take these 2 things, everything else you got to take with you. We're not taking any of that. They're going to be extremely selective. I don't think this is, by the way, I'm not trying to scare anybody with like, oh no, the sky is falling and your gear's worth nothing. I don't think that's even going to be close to the problem. I think there's still a lot of people buying gear for sure and guitars. But I just want you to be aware, if your goal is to dump a lot of guitars or amps or pedals at one time, I think that opportunity is slowly dwindling away. And then it's going to be, yeah, I'll take those 6 pedals. Those are good ones. We can sell those. Or, if you're trying to sell them on reverb, same thing. I'm seeing a little slowdown in reverb. As we talked about last week, I said like 9 out of everything I was following last week. In fact, actually, funny story. I was talking about my the Tonemaster amp. Funny story was I was watching some random things on Reverb, and somebody sent me a crazy offer on one of them, a brand new item on a store that I recognized right away was dealer costs or less than dealer, definitely less than dealer cost. Like it was dealer cost if they got a smoking blowout deal. And so I took it. So I have another amp coming for some stupid reason because it was so, such a good deal. And it was such a cool amp that I thought, hey, that's a good way to go. It's a good amp. Funny story was I had that amp. I owned it a few years ago and I liked it. I just didn't use it. So I got rid of it. And I thought, well, I shouldn't buy it again. That's dumb. But when I saw that price, I go, well, for that price, I would enjoy to have it, every once in a while, pull it out and play it. It was a good amp to have. And there you go. So, all right. Okay, hold on. Yeah, Blue Mox says, sounds like a good time to get some gear at a low price. Definitely, it's a better time to buy than it was for the last couple of years. That's for sure. Definitely deals. Although I was looking back, because obviously I was reflecting as I was showing you guys what I purchased from Sweetwater over the last couple of years and stuff. When I was looking at everything I bought during COVID, I still think I got really good deals on that stuff. So, I mean, I was never like there wasn't deals. Not like deals are the focus. I always feel like we're talking about deals, but I think it's just, like I said, money is a factor. You have to talk about it. Okay. Aaron says, hey, how are the Sire Larry Carlton models? Tim Pierce says they're just as good as Gibson. Just as good. I would argue easily they're better than Gibson in the argument of quality. Like if you're just going to say the quality, fit and finish, materials, just a quality instrument for price, you break it down, I would say better than Gibson. That wouldn't be a question for me. Better is a hard term because they're different, right? To me, they're different animals. I have a Gibson ES335. I love it. It's very Gibson. It's got some kind of that vibe, the mojo, the history, the thing. But like if I was only focused on a great playing ES335 style guitar, I don't know if Gibson would be my first choice. I'd almost pick the Epiphone over it. Definitely maybe look at the Ibanez stuff, the Larry Carlton, the Sire stuff for sure. As you've seen, I've reviewed that. It did really well. In fact, one thing that sucks about doing the deep dive series is that, the information is dated by that particular product. I think in my Sire Larry Carlton video, when I talk about the only negative of the guitar is that the neck is very narrow. I believe they've since changed the specification on their guitars. I don't know if it's because of my video. I say that because not because I'm like, oh, of course they watch my videos, but actually, the owner of Sire is a friend. He's a great person and he's really nice. He lives in Korea and he sends me a gift every. Korea has a holiday like Thanksgiving, but it's for friends. And every holiday he sends me a nice gift. He's really nice. His name's Kyle. Super, super nice person. I have no real business relationship with Sire, so I bought some Sires. I reviewed them. They were very excited about the videos, obviously, because they did really well. That wasn't something I have control of. But then they sent one, and I did a video of that. But I mean, they don't pay me to do the videos or anything like that. It was just, like I said, they let me check out some guitars. But so it's possible he watched the video and then he said, okay, let's change the specifications. Or they just already planned to do it because of, obviously if I noticed it, maybe they noticed it too. So I think that was the only downfall of the guitar. But otherwise, I mean, I don't know if it's, like I said, I would consider them different. But I say this before all the time. It's just, again, there's nothing wrong with having, everybody's going to have different opinions. But when it comes to opinions about guitars in this particular concept, you know, the better category. I always point out Gibson to me is, they're cool to own. There's a historical kind of vibe to them. They feel vintagey, and that kind of makes you nostalgic. There's a vibe to that, and they're good places to park your money. In other words, like I said, if you buy a Gibson, very rarely are you going to lose money on it. To me, if you buy a Gibson, let's just say Les Paul, keep it easy. If you buy a Gibson Les Paul, an actual Gibson branded Les Paul, doesn't matter if it's the cheapest model or the most expensive. If you buy a Gibson Les Paul and you lose money on that guitar, you just didn't wait long enough. I mean, again, I don't want to make it, I'm not giving out like financial advice, but I'm telling you, like, as someone who's bought and sold thousands of them, they're really hard to lose money on. If you have a Gibson and you bought it, and that's one of the things that's nice. When I buy guitars, I'll tend to buy Gibsons a lot because of that. I'll try it because I know I can buy it. And as long as I'm willing to wait, it will be worth what I paid or more for sure. And really, to be honest with you, I'm not trying to make money on them. I'm trying to break even so I can put the money back in the pot, so to speak, and then try something else or do something else. So that's one reason. And I always tell you that because I feel like a lot of, I don't want to say people are disingenuous, but there's a lot of players out there that talk about unicorn powder, right? Or whatever, mojo, magic, things, non-tangibles. The reality is this, like I said, I think if you want a good quality guitar that has the Gibson vibe, you buy an Epiphone. I love Epiphones. If somebody argues they're not as good as Gibsons, depends on what you consider good. I mean, you know, maybe they don't sound the same way because they're polyurethane versus the nitro, and they use different types of pickups and stuff. But I mean, for quality, you can get a quality guitar out of an Epiphone, but it doesn't have the value proposition that a Gibson does. And that's one nice thing about something like this, you know, buying some stuff, enjoying it, and then being able to sell it for what you paid for it is amazing. Talk about it's an amazing thing. I don't care if you make $1 million a year or if you make $10,000 a year. There's just something really cool about being able to buy something, enjoy it, and then sell it for what you paid or more, right? I mean, that's you know, that's what's great about it. It allows you freedom to do things and try things and not worry so much about like your decisions. And I find I can freely, like this Firebird, like I said, I think I did overpay for the Firebird. So, like somebody is, obviously the video will be out soon, and I'm sure somebody's gonna ask me when I sell it. It's gonna take me a long time to sell it. I think that Firebird will be what in my opinion, even being in a video, I think it's gonna take 2 to 5 years for it to be worth what I paid for it. But like I said, it's unique, it's cool, it looks good, and I think it'll be a fun video. There was a lot of reasons for me to justify that. And when I say overpaid, I think I overpaid by $500. Too much for it. So give you a reference, I think that guitar is worth $2,500. I paid $29, which was a lot. But I think it's, you know, I wanted to do this video. I wanted to try the guitar. And the grand scheme, I like I said, I just told you the answer. I know if I wait over time, because it's red, it's unique. Unique will eventually win, and it will be worth what I paid for it easily. So. Yes. So it's funny, Mike. I'll be talking about in the video. He says yours doesn't have the banjo tuners. So that was a factor for this. Remember, when I bought the Firebird, there was obviously things I don't like. I'm not a big fan of those style tuners. I don't like those tuners so much. I don't like that they're heavy. I don't like that they can make the guitar heavy. I like the guitar to be pretty light and reasonable. This guitar is super light. I don't know what it is. I got it. I can tell you actually. Hold on. If you guys don't mind, if it matters, because it's really light. It's good, crazy light. Hold on. I gotta go to my purchase history. I'm pretty sure it is in the description. It was 7 pounds, 6 ounces, man. That's pretty light for a guitar that size. And because it was light, I was looking for light Firebirds. One of my concerns is if you get a light Firebird like that and you get those big banjo style tuners, it can be neck heavy and dive. And I didn't want that to happen. So that's why I did it. So like I said, that was all my justifications for what I was doing. I was like, okay, again, I talk about deals all the time, but as you can see, as I point out, this guitar, I prioritized, what I want over what I had to pay, which sometimes that's the answer too. Like I said, not everything can be about, hey, it was a good deal. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Brian says, the Firebird is just so long. Well, that's why I wanted to do it, right? I wanted to try something different. Again, deep down in the grand scheme of things, when I make videos, I really like the videos that I do where I feel like when I look back at them and I go, oh yeah, I forgot that was a cool time, or that was a different moment, or something was cool. This one, I wanted to do this video, not just to obviously make a video, because I have tons of videos I can just make. I wanted to do something a little different on the channel, and that guitar to me seemed different. Obviously, it's never been on the channel. Something different, something fun. So, okay. Next question we have is from Antique Rocker. Says, staggered tuners versus string trees. If you have one, should you ever switch to the other? Your favorite hardware for each option. So I prefer staggered tuners over string trees, but I do not have the distaste for string trees that everybody has. The string trees constantly get bad rep for knocking guitars out of tune. There's different kinds of string trees, first of all. So, I mean, obviously you can use different ones. You can use ones with that are lubricated. You can use ones that have all wheels and rollers on them. But I personally have not had any problems. This 62 reissue Strat right here that I have has a string tree on it. Okay. And I can do anything on that guitar. I can play any, dive bomb, anything, and it won't go out of tune. It's set up correctly. It's put together correctly. And that stupid string tree is rusted because it's a relic. So it's like all rusted, which is dumb. I wanted it a little relic because I wanted to buy, but I always think it's funny when we buy rusted hardware. I'm always like, why the am I buying rusted hardware? I understand I want it to be relic, but I kind of feel like the hardware, just make it nickel and don't make it gloss or, chrome shiny. But I don't know why when I see rust on, I'm like, this is rusty. I'm putting my hand on rusty stuff. Like, to me, I love relic guitars, but I also think, do I really want a guitar sometimes where I have to wonder, like, when's the last time I had a Technic shot? I don't want to be the guy in the emergency room. Like, yeah, I need a Technic shot. Why? Well, I bought a guitar, an expensive one. If you buy an expensive guitar, you need a Technic shot. So anyways, so what's my point? So I don't have a problem with string trees. String trees, even with staggered tuning keys, are a great combination. So at your question, at your core, you're like, what are my preference? My preference is obviously staggered tuning keys over string trees. But I find some guitars need them or not. Sometimes they need a string tree even though they have staggered tuning keys. Because I don't subscribe to the idea that when people say, oh, if you put staggered tuning keys, you don't need string trees. Sometimes you need absolutely both. What I can tell you is really common, though, is I think one string tree is enough. I've learned, like through Charvels and Fenders and stuff, the second string tree, the one that goes on the D and G string, sometimes becomes problematic. So sometimes you have to, maybe ditch that one. But I did a video with my Charvel, and I talked about that it wouldn't stay in tune, and it was one of the string trees, just one. And like I said earlier, they usually aren't the culprit. But for some reason, this one, man, I tried everything, and just ditching that one string tree immediately fixed the problem. So, and I did not change the tuners. Those were the stock tuners on the guitar. So there you go. So that's when I decide. I will put staggered tuning keys on anything I can, though. So like I said, whether it has a string tree, whether it doesn't, I just like staggered tuning keys. Again, I like the angle. That we talk about that angle being a problem, but it's really necessary. So it's one of those, it's a double-edged sword. It's like literally it causes the tuning instability in the tremolo systems, but it also increases the tuning stability for when you're playing. So it's why it has to be right. Declan, what's up, Declan? He says, is the price of the new Dave Mustaine Epiphone a sign that Gibson wants to lean more towards imports. Do you see them dropping the US tribute line? So I'm assuming from this that the new Dave Mustaine Epiphone's a lot of money. I don't get it, so you know. I'm not. Oh yeah, $1,400. Woo-doo. Wow. Okay, let's share this. Look at that. All right, here we go. $1,400. I just saw one also that was more, and not made in China, handcrafted in China. I'm sorry, I take that back. So you guys know I'm not really saying anything about the country of origin other than I'm just trying to understand the pricing. To me, this is like, if you guys recall, if you remember, like, remember when Japanese guitars started getting expensive and you're like, oh, wow, those are expensive for Japanese guitars. And then you're like, oh, those are expensive for Korean-made guitars. Oh, wow, those are expensive for Indonesian guitars. So whenever I see price of guitars, the first thing I'm going to look at is, because that kind of sets the hierarchy of the pricing, right? So obviously, we're seeing more and more made in China expensive. We've already been seeing lots of it lots of expensive made in Indonesia, but this is a lot for a made in China factory guitar, although it's made in the Epiphone factory, so to speak. $1,400. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I told you that I was at Zim's store. He doesn't ship, so you're screwed. But if you want a Dave Mustaine V, he's got like 4 or 5 cool Dean ones with graphics that he would probably love to sell you for $1,400. I mean, I bet you if he's watching right now, he's laughing out loud like, oh yeah, 14. I mean, he had everything marked way less than $1,400. And and those were like, a lot of them were made in Korea out of the World Manufacturing. So World Manufacturing Dean Dave Mustaine V's at his store right now. Maybe I'll run and get one. I was looking at a couple of them. He has like a cool, yeah, it's all those graphic series ones. But is it a sign of the times I guess that was the core of the question, right? The question was that I've lost entirely. Here it is. Sorry, Declan. He says, hey, do you see them dropping the US tribute line? I don't know. Because I don't know. I don't understand it. Here's what I mean by that. So Dave was with Jackson. I'm a huge Megadeth fan, so let's not confuse anything. So it's not like I'm like, oh, who wants a Dave Mustaine guitar? I totally get it. I'm a Megadeth fan. So being a Megadeth fan, I get it. I get the appeal. When he was at Jackson, to me that's still, I'm older, so to me it's always going to be a Megadeth. It's always going to be a Jackson thing for me. I barely on board for much less the ESP for a minute and then Dean. I never really wanted the Dean Dave Mustaine guitars. There was nothing that appealed to me about them. Not for any reason, like there was nothing I wanted. I just didn't want one. So now that he's with Kramer Epiphone, I don't go, oh wow, he's with Kramer Epiphone now. I kind of go, okay, that's where they are now. So I guess my point is, I don't know. I don't get why they're, people are super excited about this. I guess I'm trying to articulate what I'm trying to say, because this was tough about a live show like this. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're a Dave Mustaine fan and you're into V's and you bought a Dean or a Jackson and now he's with Epiphone, that's cool. But I don't know why that would bring in a new customer. So that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, if I'm a Dave Mustaine fan and I want his V, now that he's with Epiphone, sure, I'll go to Epiphone. But I don't see a person going, wow, I never wanted a V and I never wanted a Dave Mustaine guitar, but now he's with Epiphone and Kramer, I'm going to do it. See what I'm saying? That's where I'm confused. But to answer your question, the answer to your question about will they discontinue basically the US line, the tribute line, discontinue or drop it? I don't think they will. But look, I think the plan is to make less USA made guitars for everybody. I've been saying that for years. The plan is make more imported out of Asia guitars. Companies will say that's not the plan. It is absolutely the plan. It's like everybody hates Amazon, but Amazon keeps growing. Everybody hates Walmart, but Walmart keeps growing. Everybody hates import guitars, apparently, but yet they keep growing. Look, the reality is this. People vote with their wallets, not their mouths. So the wallets are speaking, and the wallets are saying Asian import guitars are the bee's knees. They're coming. So And when I told you, I've been now to 35 different factories and shops. I like to keep going to as many as I can. And what I will tell you is that I don't see a whole lot of US shops growing. And now remember, Fender just moved into bigger and more modernized buildings. So give them that credit for that. However, you know, they're still going to grow their import line. I mean, in fact, let's actually stop saying that I think the US factories are going to shrink or they're shrinking. They're not going to grow as fast, and they're not growing as fast as the import line because of the price points. So I think that's where it's going to go. And I said this a couple episodes back, like 100 episodes back. I said, I always believe this. I believe the plan is to get us to pay what we're paying for USA made high-end, high-priced USA made guitars. That's what they want us to pay for made in, Asia imports. Of course, with more money for them. So there you go. So we'll see. And again, I'm not calling out Epiphone and Gibson on this. Remember, I call out everybody. There's very few companies. The list of companies, and I always tell everybody, think about this in your head. Just think it in your head. List in your head the companies you can think of that make guitars in their original, not even their original factories, because people change factories, but I'm saying original countries of origin or states of origin. So for instance, like Kiesel making guitars in California in the U.S., Rickenbacker making guitars in the U.S. Think of the companies, of course, and if you're in Europe, think in Europe. Think of where a company builds their guitars. Now I want you to think of the ones that don't do an import version of their guitar, an Asian import version of their guitar, and write that list down in your head. Just do it kind of fun for memory. It's a very short list. It's a short list of companies who have not dove into the Asian import market. And here's the important part of this, and this is a conversation I've had with many companies at their factories. As no more than just a guitar enthusiast. That's what when I go to a factory, look, I'm just a guitar enthusiast like you. And like you, I say the things that you would say if at a factory. I want a more affordable, high-end quality guitar. That's what I want, right? And they're like, well, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to go overseas. And you're like, okay. But the trick is that once they go overseas, what you start noticing is that's what they start building on. That's the leg of their company arm that they build. I don't know why I said leg of the company arm. That's the leg that they build the strongest are. It's without a doubt. Like I said, SE is a big income for PRS now. It's becoming one of their biggest. It's probably their biggest profit margins, or biggest profits of the company, if not the biggest, one of the biggest. And of course, same with Epiphone, same with Squire. It's just happening. LTD to ESP. Obviously, the Schecter line is obviously important. It's huge for them. G&L told me that the G&L made by Quartec is huge for them. I told you the owner even said, and he sighed, and that tells you a lot, because that was like 4 years ago when I did that interview with him. He sighed and said, I don't even know why I make guitars in the U.S. anymore. And the reason I say that is just, he's still making them here. And I think it's just because he wants to. I think it's because, like us, he's a guitar enthusiast, and he wants to make guitars, and he wants to have a shop, and he wants to employ people, and he wants to do these things. But if he was an accountant, he would not have come to that conclusion. He would go, yeah, I should just import them into a warehouse from Quartec and sell them. So I think that's where it goes. Does it matter? I don't know if it matters. That's for everybody to decide on their own, if it matters where your guitar is made. I really just care that I care about the three things that matter to me, which is that the guitar is quality, the guitar is made at a price that I think is reasonable, and the people who made it were treated fairly. It's really what I care about. And ultimately, I try to do my best to buy guitars that represent those three categories, although that's very tough. It's very tough. Okay, this is a good subject to jump to. Jay Preston says, hey, Phil, why would someone buy your guitar? He means in general, not me personally, like my guitar. Why would they buy somebody's guitar on Reverb and then not pay? Are they intentionally taking your guitar off the market? I did sell after I canceled 72 hours, but I was very frustrated. It was very frustrating. So there's a couple reasons why. First, probably the most common is I believe, I tell you this all the time, I believe that a large amount that shocks me, a large amount of guitars that are purchased through the affiliate links that I see, and Reverb's one of my affiliates, and I sell a lot of stuff through Reverb because there's a lot of you, like I said, you guys are all freaks. We're all freaks buying guitars all the time. The majority of you guys are buying guitars at night, late at night. That's when you're seeing guitars sell. It's very common. You can see it almost everywhere. You know, I wake up the next day and I look in the affiliates and they mostly were humming at night. So most people are purchasing at night. I think that's my recommendation to my close friends is always like, put the stuff in the cart at night and then wake up in the morning and make the decision. The reason is I can tell you this. Somebody's saying scammer, but let me get to that. First, let's not forget the easy thing. There's alcohol involved. It happens a lot. You know how many videos now are titled like, so you were drinking and you bought a guitar. Look, and I'm not talking about belligerent drunk. I'm talking about, it doesn't take much. You get a little tipsy. Look, you get a little tipsy, you get a little bold, right? I mean, how many people, how many movies you ever seen in your life where the guy takes a swig of some whiskey to go ahead and do the crazy thing, save the world, get the girl, right? It's very common, right? Beer goggles. Somebody says beer goggles, right? That's what it does, right? Alcohol essentially takes away some of that, anxiety, I guess, or makes you make those decisions. So that is a factor. And so they sober up the next day and they think, I don't know if the $800 I have in my checking account, I don't know if the best thing I can do with it right now is to $700 of it and buy this guitar and wait for a payday, right? So there's all kinds of reasons. Dave says liquid courage. There you go. We all know the terms. We all know what it is. So that's an easy thing. The second thing is, it doesn't even have to be that. That's late at night. I just don't think a lot of good decisions are made late at night. For a ton of reasons. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you have things on your mind. So I think sometimes, like I said, you need clarity. And also sometimes they buy something and then you got to understand, this is a real common thing and it's really shocking to me, but a lot of people buy something and then research it backwards. So they'll click the buy link, they buy the guitar, and now they're going to go, what are they going for? And what do people think of them? And then they go out there and they go, now look, I think I paid $50 too much for this, guys. And really what I think it comes down to is what is the penalty for not purchasing it? And it used to be, you get I think they used to do something on eBay and Reverb. Now they don't do anything. You just don't buy it and everybody backs out of the deal and they don't give you feedback and you don't give them feedback because it was all backed out. So there's no reason to basically do that. If some of you guys probably remember, I remember they used to do something. There was like you had a penalty or a strike or something, but now there's nothing as far as I know. So that's one reason they do it. I don't think they're intentionally trying to just take, make it not available. I think they literally just made, and then they have buyer's remorse. That's another thing too. They buy it and then they think about it, like all the reasons I said, but then they decide that they decide it's not what they want. And here's the funny thing. You're better for it. You're looking at it like a negative. I get it. Because to you, it's like they bought it and then now they're backing out. Trust me, out of all the situations that happened after that item was sold, you just got the best one of all the negatives. The next negative is they wait till you ship it and then they tell you they don't want it. Now you're dealing with return shipping, or they tell you that it's damaged when it's not damaged, or they tell you it's not as described when it is as described. Trust me, if they're going to back out of the purchase, they were going to back out of it anyways. And thank goodness they're doing it before you're too deep into this problem. So like I said, I know it is a frustrating thing to have happen, and it's just part of it. It's part of the things, man. It's just how it goes. You just relist it. I know the biggest thing and the thing that you're probably more focused on is for you for 3 days, 72 hours, because for 3 days, you're not getting paid and you have this thing that you want to get rid of and none of that's happening. And I understand it sucks. And there's nothing really I can do. I can tell you this. In my personal opinion, if somebody buys something, just my personal opinion, okay? If somebody buys something from you online, the proper etiquette is to pay within 24 hours or communicate with you within 24 hours and when the payment will be made. There is no exceptions to that other than, of course, like emergency, right? Okay. But I'm just saying, so I can say there's no exceptions and there's no exceptions, just this one. But I mean, realistically, Even then, in today's society, get on the text, man. I'm sorry, something happened, family emergency. I can't buy it until Thursday. To me, that is the proper etiquette. That's it. Simple. You get your payment in 24 hours, or you get a notification in 24 hours of what the intention is to do it. And then that's it. So what I'm telling you is, I don't wait past 24 hours. I don't wait longer than after the 24 hours. If I sell something and I haven't heard from somebody, my first thing at 24 hours is I send a message and I say, hey, look, hey, I'm just checking in, everything okay. That's it. You know, no pressure, no nothing. You don't need to pay me. I just need to know what's going on. Okay. And then it max 24 hours on that, but I don't even wait that. I wait like 10, 12 hours. And then if I don't hear from them, I just go ahead and back out the sale. And what I do is I say, seller, change their mind. And they get, and so, you know, when you do that on Reverb, when you say seller, change their mind, they get to confirm that or whatever, you know, it backs out. I think they have an opportunity to reverse that if they want. So there you go. So I think that's realistic in today's day and age. There's no reason not to communicate with people within a day for something that you initiated, right? There you go. Somebody asked, and I should have grabbed it when I saw. Oh yeah, Fast Eddie 3330 says, Phil, can we get a Badlands guitar update, please? I will be inspecting 25 of them tomorrow. And then my understanding is once I sign these, I have these sheets. Once I sign off all the sheets, they pack and ship to 25. And then the next 25 is, I want to say a week out. I'm probably gonna be wrong. It's got to be something like that. I have an itinerary. I told you guys. Either way, it's when they start the process, and that's how it all lined up. What's great is if you're a patron for sure, you'll know, and a member. This weekend you'll see some. I'll be sending some stuff when I'm up to, but I'll try and post on like Instagram or any other platforms too, just saying where I'm at, what I'm doing. But I'll be there looking at guitars. I'll be looking at lots of red and black guitars. So yeah, sorry, I'm just reading some. See, I could just easily read all your comments. You guys know, I could just sit here and just not answer questions and read the comments. That's why I got to stay away and stay out of that screen, because I'm always like, what are they talking about? That's cool. This question, I'm just going to say the question. The question is, hey, Phil, recently got an Epiphone Casino. Love the guitar, but I'm getting some buzzing from the trapeze tailpiece. How can I fix it? Well, I mean, one of the first things you can do is put some foam underneath it. I mean, foam is a huge part of that. A lot of guitar players will do that as well. They also have a strap, a muted strap that goes over like a pad that you can go over the strings. One thing I will tell you with guitars like that, in my experience, all of those types of guitars is if you haven't restrung it, restring it, please. That's an important thing to do because sometimes that's part of the problem. Somebody incorrectly restrung it. Even if it came with the factory, maybe there's something wrong. So restring it. If you just restrung it and now it's having the problem, then that could have created the problem. So again, you might have to restring it or focus on that. I think it's a really common practice for guitar players to spend a lot of time, effort, and energy to not pay for strings or restring. I'm not saying this is the case. I'm just saying this is some advice I can give when it comes to repairs. A lot of repairs that you can do sometimes is as simple as I just restrung it and I solved the problem by the restring. And a lot of players will go through everything in their world not to buy a pack of strings and just restring it, because their mindset is, I just paid money for strings. I got to buy more strings and put them on. And sometimes that's just what you want to do. So, but foam usually solves that problem a lot. Somebody says felt will work too. I mean, I'm not really particular about the material you shove in there. You can shove a napkin in there, but any material will just stop it from vibrating, and that's what's causing the buzz is being caused because it's the sympathetic buzz. It's reverberating there. So stick something in there to stop it. It's what the rock stars do. Very rarely are you going to see rock stars with those kind of guitars on stage and not have some kind of foam or something shoved in those things. And And that's where, and if you pay attention when you watch videos of rock stars on stage, if you really can get close in, and you know, now that we have these great TV sets with this ultra clarity and they're huge, if you really zoom in and kind of look, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, man. So many times there's a lot of stuff, just little fixes on their guitars. That's how they make them work. So, okay. I have no idea where I'm at. I do. I lied. Grumpy Mike Guitar says, don't understand why compensated nuts exist for an electric guitar. Any thoughts? Sure, of course. It's to improve the intonation. You got to understand the concept. I know you're like, well, can't I just keep adjusting the saddles? Probably. I don't know. Why do they exist for an electric guitar? I don't know. Probably because of, I'm giving a theory, maybe because of the break angle of the strings. They, you know, because the problem with sometimes with the saddles on a bridge is you adjust them to a certain point and they're just, the angle of the break angle on the string from behind it is off. I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know the answer. I can just tell you this, not too many companies use them. I think it's basically Music Man is what I see using as a standard feature. So I really never give any thought to it. Very few, I've installed very few compensated nuts on guitars over the years from request of customers. Like, there's not very many people who are looking for it as a whole. The history will vindicate. Okay. Thrawn, I think it says Thrawn. Rumble 800 combo thoughts, 29 pounds Eminence neodymium speakers, $850. I like the Rumble stuff. It's huge. It's a huge sound, 800 watts. It's powerful. 29 pounds is light. $850. I'd say go, do it. Be loud and enjoy. Voodoo Fist says, hey, that Thunderbird behind you looks so damn good. I agree. Just something about this. I figured, you know what it is. I was looking at the burst ones. I was looking at black ones and stuff. And all I kept thinking was, man, if you're going to have this guitar, which to me is like, you know, just, I want it to pop, you know, I want it to be over the top. Sometimes I find myself, this is the dumbest thing I have to admit about myself, but it's so true. Sometimes when I'm buying these guitars and I know I'm going to make a video, I start thinking about like how the thumbnail, that's it. Like that in a thumbnail, that's cool looking, you know, right? That in a thumbnail, that's not that cool looking. It's just blue, right? Like you need something that pops. And I don't think it makes any difference at all, what I've learned on the thumbnails. But I just think like, oh, if I can get that cool one, you know, it'll be a cool thumbnail. David says, hey, Phil, do my pets like your guitar practice? No one likes my guitar practice. No one likes me playing guitar here at the house. They all tolerate it. And I told you guys, I feel bad. Here's why I feel bad. I'm not quiet. I'm not super loud. And don't get me wrong. I mean, like, I'm not so loud like a rock concert's happening all day or most of the day to where they can't watch TV or do anything. But let's just say everybody has to either, they wear my family wears noise canceling Bose headphones. I'm not making this up. I bought everybody, my wife and I bought everybody, her, my daughter, my son, they all have Bose noise canceling headphones. So if they can't take the guitar playing, they just put the headphones on. The pets, they just leave. They go out in the backyard and play, or they go in other rooms or other way of the house. No one enjoys it. And why I feel bad? Why do I feel bad? I feel bad because I make money doing this. You know, I make a pretty decent living. So playing guitar is not something, you know, they can tell me no. And that's why I feel bad, because sometimes they go, I'll stop. And everybody in my family is always like, no, please. Well, in fact, sometimes they'll leave. I'll get a text. I'll be playing sometimes and practicing stuff or doing something or working on an idea or doing whatever. And I'll get a text from my daughter or my son or my wife or all of them. And they'll go, hey, we decided to leave and go shopping so you can just be loud. Right. And so the pets don't dig it at all. They go and hide. They literally, if they're in the room, they immediately leave. Now, like I said, I don't want you to think that I'm so loud I'm hurting anybody's hearing. It's not that loud, but it is. it is not something you can easily, it's not something you can ignore. You know I'm playing for sure. You just, like I said, it's not a rock concert, but it's not, like I said, it's not a library either. Chris says, question, I moved into an old apartment with 2-prong outlets and I'm getting a lot of hum from my amp. Amp is very low wattage. Do you recommend something like the HumX to get rid of the hum? I love the HumX. It's a great product. So if that's something you need to do to get rid of the hum, sure. It's a great product. If you're not familiar with the HumX, guys, it's a cool product. It's made by the Morley guys, Morley, the pedal companies that make that. Legit. It's not too expensive. Are they $20? HumX. Maybe $30 now. Whoa, I am so wrong. They are expensive now. I thought they were like $20. They're $79 now. So $80. I still recommend it, but man, why do I remember them being only $20? I don't think they were ever $20. I'd say it's inflation, but I don't think they could have ever been $20. Mr. S says, soundproofing? Yeah, I have soundproofing. You have to understand, I don't have a studio where it's isolated, and I don't have a reason to have that. Remember, I'm not doing recording sessions. No one's playing for 2 to 5 hours at a time. And most of the time I'm practicing. I'm not going to practice like super loud, but it's more about the time of it. I just happen to play loud when I play loud. I don't really have control of my day, my workflow. So for instance, like if it's like 2:00 in the afternoon and it's just, that's the time where I'm checking out the new Amplified Nation amp. That's the time I'm checking out the amp. So, but yeah, we have soundproofing and stuff. We have, but no, it's not totally isolated like a studio. And we thought about doing a studio, but I just don't see that. I don't need it. Not for a few hours a day. Okay. Tone Straps says, love the show and I want some KYG gear. I just wanted to know where I can order KYG shirt. So, my wife was working on an improved line of KYG gear, hats and shirts and stuff. They're much better, as I've talked about. She was working with a new company. Everything's great. Unfortunately, she is out of town. So she is dealing with some family stuff. And so because of that, it's on hiatus until she gets back. So once she's back, they will have that released. So that's what that's about. But thank you for asking. I mean, like I said, I appreciate it. Obviously, like I said, we've talked about this on the show before. I mean, it's obviously not having the merch is tough, but like I said, I made the decision. I just want to let you know, I made the decision and I told her, I said, look, I just can't, I can't have subpar stuff out there. So if it's not good, we can't, I'd rather have nothing than junk. So we had to switch, and because we switched, it was my wife's opportunity. She took the opportunity because we were switching to a better company to improve everything, improve the quality of the way it looks, to the quality of the colors, to I say colors, the black on the white. Am I wearing? No, I'm wearing a band shirt. I didn't even know what shirt I'm wearing. So like I said, so just trying to make the stuff as best as possible, and of course, keep the prices reasonable because, 7 Mile SP says, hey Phil, can you offer any compare contrast on Peavey VK2 versus Blackstar HT5R? I don't have any. Let me look. It's one of those things where I gotta just tell you, every time somebody mentions Peavey, and I like Peavey. In fact, I was just mentioning I bought an amp. I just bought a Peavey amp. I like Peavey, but I'm always like shocked that they're still in business. Okay. Peavey Valve King VK2. Compare and contrast. Against the Blackstar. I don't know which one I like better. I think the Peavey, when I think of the Peavey Valve King, I think of a really high gain fizzy kind of 5150 kind of sound. So if that's what you're looking for, where I think the Blackstar has got a little bit more of the rock metal sound versus that higher gain sound, I'd probably go with the Peavey over the Blackstar. And I like both. I like both. See, like I said, whenever I get asked questions, whenever anyone asks me, you guys ask me a question like, which would I pick of these two? I always try to tell you exactly what I would pick. Like if you gave me those options, like right now, if you said, Phil, I will give you a Valve King 2 Peavey or a Blackstar HD5R, what I was picturing in my head was which one would I take from you for free, right? Right? That makes total sense, right? Like if you were going to give it to me, which one would I take? I would take the Peavey. I had a Peavey Valve King. I liked it. I went through the Peavey. So you guys know, I went through a Peavey thing. I bought the Peavey Valve King head. And then I bought the Peavey 5150 or 6505 mini head. And then I bought the Peavey Classic mini head. And I never got the, what's the last one? The Misha Mansour one. I forgot the name of it. Invective or something like that. I never tried that one or got that one, but I did the other three. Excuse me, guys. I'm just getting some water. Anyways, I like them all. That was the easy answer. So, and I had HD5. I had that too, and I liked it too. But I kind of feel like I remember liking the Peavey Valve King more. Okay. Cyber says, hey, Phil, did you know Sweetwater opened their Phoenix distribution center? Got my order in one day in Vegas. Yes, we talked about it. I actually leaked it. There's an episode, I forget what, but it's all clickbaited as hell. And it did like, a lot of views where I'm like, Sweetwater in Phoenix, Arizona. Yes, I had the discussion with Sweetwater a while back about that new center. It's, so Sweetwater opened, it just for those maybe didn't watch that episode. Sweetwater opened a new distribution center in Phoenix, Arizona, technically Glendale. Okay, so for those in the locals that'll be flipping out, that's not Phoenix, Phil, but for the rest of the world, you guys probably wouldn't know anything besides Phoenix. Phoenix, it's 250,000 square feet, which is about half the size as their facility in Indiana. The Indiana warehouse is 500,000 square feet. And this building is like 250. It might be close to 300,000, but it's not above 300,000. I thought it was 250,000. So about half the size. It does not carry guitars. And the reason it doesn't carry guitars is because the warehouse in Indiana is climate controlled, including humidity. So there are like a misting system throughout the entire warehouse, and they keep the humidity of the entire warehouse the same and the temperature the same, which is, and the reason is because when they built that warehouse, they were going to build a special section in the warehouse just for the guitars and keep that climate controlled. And then Chuck Surek said, well, why don't we just make the whole factory the same, because what happens if they have to, if there's overflow guitars and they have to put them in a different part of the factory? And what happens if the guitars are being moved around? And what about when they're being shipped and they're staying in areas, right? And of course, he actually said this, and this is absolutely true. He said, and it's a beautiful condition to work in, because it's, like I said, it's a great climate with a perfect amount of humidity. So he's like, why not have all the employees work in it? Because it's great, right? So you can imagine, like, it's great. So they basically did that to their main warehouse. This warehouse in Glendale, Arizona, they don't own. They did not buy it. They are renting it. It's a whole row of those warehouses now in Glendale. And they are renting it. I don't know what the lease is. I thought it could be 2 years or 5 years. I don't remember. But they did tell me, and I don't remember now if it was on or off the record. So I apologize, Sweetwater, if it was off the record, because I can't remember this part. But they said they are testing the waters. If this works and does well, then they will eventually build a facility, probably here because it makes sense, but somewhere on the West Coast, but most likely in the Phoenix area. And they'll build a physical facility, their own building to their own specs, just like they had that one built from scratch in Indiana. And then will they put guitars there? I don't know. My guess is yes. So that's so it has everything but guitars, or it has a majority of stuff, but no guitars in that facility. And so you answered with your question, you answered the reason why they built that facility. So you said your question, Cyber, was, I got my order in one day to Vegas. West Coast should only be 1 to 2 days now for most things. And I was told by my sales engineer. And you have to understand what this does. That's why when I leaked it, we talked about it on the show. So what I was talking about was everyone told me, everyone, all of you, you're all guilty. No, but I'm seriously, the entire stupid industry was like, once Sweetwater got the big venture capital investment company buying them, because that's what happened. They got sold to a big investment firm. Everybody was like, well, besides the whole, they're going to die like Guitar Center, which is, everything's a possibility. But a lot of people speculate like, oh, now they're going to open stores. Oh, they're going to open in stores in Europe. They're going to open stores. And I'm like, man, look, you don't understand. They already know they have a great plan. They're online. They want to be on every phone, every tablet, every screen, every YouTube channel. Before they were on every YouTube channel, I said they're going to be on every YouTube channel because they're going to put links in every channel. The reason why they're going to do that is because that has it's super cheap growth. It's, what do you have to do to really be on every phone, every tablet, on every YouTube channel? It's not a lot of money to build stores like Guitar Center does. That's a huge investment of time, money, real estate, rental contracts, hiring employees, all that stuff. This is a much more effective system. The downfall, though, of being online is this. If you buy a guitar in California and it takes 5 to 6 days to get it, well, believe it or not, most players will wait. They're like, hey, it's the guitar I wanted. They had pictures. It was the right weight. It was in stock. It was the price I wanted to pay. Bam, I'll wait a week. But you are not waiting a week for your strings. You're not going to wait a week to get a power cable. You're not going to wait a week to get the HumX. You're not going to wait a week for the incidentals, the things you need. So what Sweetwater's doing that's ingenious is they put that facility on the West Coast because exactly what Cyber. I didn't want to figure your sign on. Cyber, for exactly the reason you just discovered, which was you live in Vegas. I've been to Vegas. There's this Guitar Center. There's a Sam Ash there. There's a bunch of mom and pop shops there. You could go and get strings at your mom and pops. But believe it or not, you just did exactly what they were hoping to do, which is fine, which is you're like, click, bam, strings in a day. I'll have them by Friday, right? Because that's what they lost. They lost those accessory orders because you need a guitar cable for Friday's gig. It's Wednesday, and you're like, crap, I won't get it in time. I'm gonna go down to my mom and pop and just buy a cable there. And when you're in that store, oops, they have a guitar there, and you didn't know that beautiful red, Gibson's there. Oh, maybe I need to buy that. And so what Sweetwater is effectively doing is what Amazon was successful at doing, which is basically stopping you from going to Walmart to buy toilet paper by saying, hey, we can get you toilet paper in the same day. Sweetwater's doing the same technique. I can get strings by tomorrow from Sweetwater and the price is dirt cheap. It's $1 less than my mom and pop. And I won't have to, I'll have it in time. And now I'm not frequenting anybody else. So that was their strategy. And so I think, again, Sweetwater, you'll see this continuation of that, of figuring out how to get you everything you want faster so that they don't have to build physical buildings and stuff. So there you go. So you just saw the answer, and that's good. And so, yeah, that's really great. And, I have probably, and I could be wrong. So if I am, I'm sure you guys will tell me. I have probably the same feelings most of you have about this, same thing as I feel about everything. I want to go to my mom and pop stores. I want to support my smaller businesses. I want to support the guitar stores that I love. And I also want to have strings right at my door where I don't have to go in my car and deal with crap. Right? It's a conflict of, yeah. So David says, this is why Amazon will own Sweetwater. My theory, my stretch theory, that was I talked about everything I think I understand about that. My stretch theory is that's exactly what happens to Sweetwater one day, is they end up being acquired by Amazon. I think that is I don't think that's a far-fetched grasp. There's some of you guys don't realize this, but Sweetwater, Amazon bought, one of the biggest, I think the biggest pharmaceutical vitamin distribution companies in the United States. They bought them. They bought Whole Foods, right? They bought Whole Foods, which is obviously is supposed to be more of a nutritious, more, nutritious based kind of grocery store, right? More high end grocery store. I could be wrong about the store. If I apologize if I am, but it's one of those type stores. And why I'm saying that, why I'm referencing that, is that we've seen this with Amazon as a technique. Is like they topple everybody they can, so they come after all the businesses they can, and they take that market. But when they can't topple a market, when they can't overtake it, when they can't win in that market, they buy who wins, and they let them look and seem the same, but they own them, right? So in my opinion, based on everything I've learned over the years in the industry, is that Amazon cannot sell high-end guitars. It just cannot. It is tried. It is ineffective. None of you are buying an American Strat from Amazon. I know this because Fender had a huge meeting because they were selling high-end guitars through Amazon, and the dealer network got really upset with Fender and threw a fit and basically threatened not to buy from Fender. And Fender's big problem was they weren't really selling any guitars on Amazon. Amazon was ineffective at selling high-end guitars. So the downfall was you had Amazon not selling high-end guitars, and you had the dealers pissed that Amazon's selling high-end guitars. So Fender pulled all USA made, all the higher end lines from Amazon. This is a true story. This absolutely happened. I was there at that meeting. So my point to that is that is where Amazon is ineffective. If you want you've seen a ton of videos I've done. If you want a great $200 guitar, a company can grow an entire business off of just being on Amazon, because it's a trusted source for returns, right? That's what the advantage is. I was watching some videos recently. A company just sent me a guitar, and of course I was unfamiliar with the guitar, so I was watching a bunch of videos, and obviously there was no huge YouTube channels yet, no big gear channels that had reviewed this product, but there was a ton of independent videos, and every single one, the person who was unboxing and talking about the guitar cited the 45-day unconditional Amazon return as the reason why they took a chance on this unknown brand $200 guitar. And I thought, oh, right, because it's a factor, right? You're buying the unknown, and it's nice to know that you can, get out of that situation, right? Especially if you bought that guitar late at night, or why you had liquid courage. Anyways, my point is that I don't think it's far-fetched to think that that's a potential thing that could happen in the future, right? Why wouldn't it? Amazon has the money, and Sweetwater has the market, and if Sweetwater grows big enough market of us, Amazon buys it and then lets it be alone. It'll just be like Whole Foods or whatever. It'll stay Sweetwater, but owned by Amazon. This is a far-fetched theory that I have. I don't have anything to kind of like validate that. I just want to give it to you as that way, as more of a fun talk to say what could happen. Fun being interesting talk. I don't mean like I think that situation's funny. But and then what happens after that? We can all speculate then. We'll all guess, is it the end of the world, or is it the greatest thing ever happened then? Who knows? Okay. Clown of House Cats says, hey, new guitar day. Godfather of all SGs. 1999 Gibson Tony Iommi custom shop. Insane pickup design. Small Alnico 2 magnet between the rails. Then stacked Alnico 2 and ceramic hybrid under the windings. Yes, those are crazy pickups. Great pickups, crazy pickups. Fun. Congratulations. New guitar day is always great. I'm an SG fan. So far, winner. Dan says, looking for more YouTubers to watch. Have any creators to check out? Also, thanks for introducing the Fret Kisser. It saved me so much time. Yeah, the Fret Kisser is really cool. One thing that I love, I'll tell you some channels too. One thing I love about stuff like that is, I got to just tell you, last Friday, this is later in the show, so I know it's more the diehard viewers watching right now. Last Friday, I was watching the show as I was timestamping it. I maybe didn't come across, but I was having a bad week last week, and on the channel, YouTube channel, and I'm trying to think about what I want to say, because it's like, do I want to tell you everything? I'll just tell you the important part. Here's the important part. I have a few companies I work with, and they are just freaking amazing. They're amazing companies, and you guys, the patrons, the channel members, and you diehard viewers, you subscribers, you the ones always like, the ones always comment, the ones that are here every Friday. Literally, I would have quit YouTube already because without you guys, because I'm always like, man, I don't know, I mean, maybe it's worth it. Cause look, and it's because again, it's not the money part of that. It's the, the give a crap part. It's hard to do stuff. Everybody understands this feeling. It's hard to do something that, if you have a boss that doesn't give a crap, it's hard. It's hard to do work when somebody doesn't give a crap. And companies are an interesting mess. Because they really, a lot of them, majority of them, they want a commercial. They want infomercials. They want you to make the infomercials. And the fact that you said that you bought a fret kisser, here's what's important to me about that statement and why I want to share this with you. And because I probably shouldn't. Stu Mac basically works with me. And they're one of those companies that they get it. I don't know why they get it. I'm just glad that they do. What I mean by that is they didn't make me do a video about the fret kisser. They didn't make me do anything. They just sent me a ton of tools and almost like, hey, if you ever have a need for any of these things, use them. If you ever need anything, let us know. And I was doing a video one day, that video on that guitar, and I was like, oh, that fret kisser. And so I used the fret kisser. And when I was using the fret kisser, I was like, you could probably make this. And sometimes that's what happens when you make content. You hear the comments like, oh, I could make that with a piece of wood and a duct tape, right? You hear people's comments. And then you're not wrong. And so I go, yeah, you could probably make the fret kisser. Let's make it. So I made a sandpaper over a fret rocker and I showed that. And they loved the video. They loved it. They didn't call me, right? And tell me like, what? We don't get what you just did. I don't understand. What is this all about? What happened? Why are you showing people how to hack our tool? Right? Instead, they just, happened? They reached out after that video. They didn't say anything. They just said, hey, if you need more stuff, just let us know. We'll send it and you can use it in content. And I think, look, that fret kisser, as someone who's literally done that work for so many people, that thing's expensive, but that thing does not cost more than what somebody's going to charge you to do it. And now you have a tool that you can just do it. And to me, buying good tools is never a waste of money because it's a forever tool. That thing lasts forever. That stupid thing is not going to go. You fret kisser, you'll have that. You'll buy it once and you'll have it. Your kids will be figuring out what to do with it when you die. So my point is, I just really appreciate that. What happened last week, so I won't tell you the company, but what happened last week was I did that Orangewood video, and I had an arrangement like that with another company, and the arrangement was the same deal. Send me some of your products, and if I ever find a use for them, I'll use them in a video. And I think that's as organic and as honest as you can be. I have a use for it. I have it here. Let's use it. Not a commercial, a practical use of your product. And the thing that pissed me off was last week, I got an email. I sent them... I didn't do it actually, but it doesn't matter. We sent them a preview of the video and they're like, we don't get this. They're like, basically, where's our commercial? And we're like, well, you're in it and we're using it and it makes sense in this application. And here's what happened in that video. And I probably told you guys too much. They go, we don't get it. And I go, well, I'm not taking it out because I put on the hard work to do it. It made sense and it's good for the viewers. So I left it in. And you guys bought the crap out of that thing. And I'm glad that you guys found a use for it. And I'm glad, but that company isn't supporting the channel in any way. In fact, even though it did well, they still don't get it. Even though we even sent them like, do you see how many sold? Do you see how exciting this was for you guys? Do you see the way that we're doing things is a little different than the whole late night infomercial ads? Like it's just a practical use of your product when used. And so my point is, thank you for telling me about the fret kisser, and thank you, Tiff, for telling me that, because believe it or not, this is the stuff that I feel makes me feel good because, like I said, Stu Mac's cool. They get the channel. They let me do whatever I want. I say whatever I want. I can make hacks of their tools. They don't care. And I think deep down, you still buy the tools if you want them. That's what I look at it. So I'm sorry I went on a tear there, but like I said, it's been sitting in my craw for a couple weeks now, as you can say, as you sometimes will say. Okay, so Dan, your other part of your question was YouTubers to watch. I still like Andre Flood, Dr. Andre Flood. He's a good channel. I like when I point out channels, obviously I'm always going to point out smaller channels because one, they need the promotion more than a bigger channel. So I'll just go through some channels and why I like them and why I watch them and what I get from it. Because I have to tell you, like every stupid YouTube channel tells you, I don't watch very many videos. Look, it's not because I do videos, I don't watch videos. I just like, sometimes the last thing I want to do is be around guitars or social media, because that's what I'm doing all day. But channels, Andre Flood. I like him. He's he says what he wants, and I like him for that. Today I watched his video. I actually got to watch one of his videos today. He was something about, I'll screw up the title, something about his Gibson over or done. And I watched the video. It's clickbait. Good for him, because you got to get people to click. It made me click. Because here's the thing about clickbait. If you don't like clickbait, I understand, but you got to understand what we're going against is these, a small, out of our bedrooms of our houses, YouTube channels making content for a few $100. Dude, there's real people on YouTube now. There's real companies spending $1 million budgets to compete with. I'm literally competing with $1 million budgets to try to get your eyeballs. So yeah, clickbait is going to be a little thing, but I always feel like as long as the content is legit and the clickbait is not a lie, I feel vindicated by that. If it's a little stretch on it, I get it. Like, oh, you'll never believe what I found in this guitar. As long as I found something in the guitar and you feel like the video was good, I hope you forgive me for that. But I obviously can't let these videos die on the vine, because let me tell you, YouTube's trying to kill us as creators. There's no question about that. They really want to be, they want the big time. They want your eyeballs on the big prize so that you stay longer. So back to my tirade, back to Andre. Great video. I highly recommend it. It came out today. Check that video out. Obviously, Dane's channel is Zane Zims. Check out his channel if you want to see what it's like to own a small store and go through the crap he's going through. Good and bad and different. Dane's, again, very upfront. He's going to show you his mistakes. He's going to show you what's great. He's going to go everything. So I love that stuff. I want to learn something from somebody. It took me a while. I always shared with you guys everything, but I try to share all my screw ups and mistakes as much as I can, because I feel like maybe it's entertaining, but most likely it's informative. I also like Ben Coombs does a live thing, and him and the guys just chat. And if you want something in the background to chat about, they'll just talk about some guitar stuff. I like it. I like it, just like you guys probably listen to me talk. Sometimes I just want something in the background, somebody talking about guitars. And to know that that's what they're going to be talking about, the thing I care about, and not, whatever else is going on. So that's another one I would check out. Landon Bailey does great videos as well. If you haven't checked out his channel, very good. Obviously, Brian S. Guitars has some great videos. Don't forget Grumpy Guitar Mike. These are moderators, and there's a reason why they're moderators. They're out there doing the work too. So I would check that out. I'm gonna, of course, this is what sucks, I'm gonna forget tons of good channels. I'm trying to think of anyone else I just watched recently. I watched Dylan Talks Tone if I get a chance. Same thing, right? Whatever he's talking about. Again, I tend to lean towards more opinion-based YouTube content. Because I know I make the content I want to watch. So I've said this before. When I started YouTube, not YouTube making content, but watching content, I watched Scott Grove. He's a little crass. At least he was more back then, more so. But he would give you his thoughts. And it's not that I'm like, oh, they're commercials and it's all paid for. It's not that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine if the YouTuber is doing a video for whatever, and I just want to know what they think. And so I appreciate that, because that helps me. Somebody's saying, Robert Baker saying Guitar Max is great. There's definitely channels, and like somebody says, Dylan definitely has opinions. Exactly, because here's what I can tell you: there is no, and I shouldn't say this. This is why giving an opinion sucks. There is no, and I mean absolutely no, reward for giving an opinion on the internet. You understand that? There is none. I am constantly told all the time, like, my channel is so good and successful. I get told my channel is successful. Look, here, let me tell you something about my channel that maybe will kind of shock you guys, or maybe put you guys in perspective. I can't find a channel on YouTube that has as many views as that has as little subscribers and as little interaction with companies. It doesn't exist. I'm very proud of the success of the channel. I'm very proud, and this has achieved way more than I can ever imagine, and way past anything I ever thought. But when you look at channels, you can look at channels that are a quarter the size of mine that have 50 videos to make from companies because they can't wait to trip over themselves to send them products to do videos about. You don't see that on my channel. I have maybe 10 companies at any time. Don't get me wrong, I'm busy, but I mean, it's not the companies have to really understand this stuff. If somebody says KDH, I like KDH as well too. He just did a couple cool videos I liked. He did the one about ESP and he just did one about Steve Vaz's guitar. I haven't finished it. I had it playing in the background. I was listening and then I got busy. But like I said, I just want to say that because they, not only for the shout out for those channels, but the shout out for the fact that you understand what an opinion does. For every channel that tells you like, I say what I want. And if the companies don't, and the companies don't care, the companies care. It's very obvious that the companies care. It's obvious that you guys care. I told you on this live show, on a typical live show for me, dumb this tirade, I'm sorry. Typical live show for me is about 50,000 views. And to give you a reference, I probably lose about 200 subscribers per episode. Now, I don't net lose 200. I usually net about 10. I'm not making that up. I get about 10 subscribers per live show after I lose 200. So I get 210 and I lose 200 because they didn't like something I said during this show. In fact, it's the main reason why I have a YouTube specialist helping the channel because it has 300,000 subs, and they flat out told me that's what's killing my channel is my live shows, that I should stop doing them and it would grow faster. And because again, it's the opinions that are killing it. It's fine. We'll keep doing it. But I just want you to know that opinions are, they're not easy to give, especially the more people watch your opinion. They're a lot easier when there's nobody watching you, but it gets as it gets bigger, it's going to come at you. So, okay. Tom says, been volunteering with my local guitars for Vets chapter for weeks now. Thanks for telling us about them. Enjoying helping fellow vets. Thank you, man. I appreciate first. Thank you for doing that. It's one of those things like I tell myself I donate, or the channel donates. I should say the channel donates. The channel donates. The goal is to raise $10,000 for Guitars for Vets every year and $10,000 for Children's Hospital. Last year I hit it. The year before I hit it. This year I'm almost halfway in the year. I don't know if I'm close, but I'm getting closer to hitting it. The joke that no one seems to understand unless you happen to be in the U.S. is my joke is I don't work for free unless you're a 501c. 501c is a legal charity in the United States. It means they're actually with the IRS they're a real charity. Okay, and so I used to a long time ago. Remember, I'd be like, I don't charge for videos, but I don't do anything for free. When I say I don't do anything for free, it was a thank you to the patrons. The patrons came up with this idea. One patron said something beautiful, and then they all jumped on. He said, instead of doing videos for free, why don't you make them donate to charity? And so that's what we do now. So sometimes companies pay to sponsor a video. That is common. But but a lot of times they're paying in a charity format. In other words, I have a video coming out July 4th with a company, and that's the deal. So the Texas flood pedal a couple weeks ago, I should tell you this just because I've been wanting to say it. The Texas flood, a couple weeks ago, I did a video on the Boyu and Ziki ES335 style guitar. In that video, the sponsor of that video was the Texas flood pedal. And I used that pedal in the video for the demo, and I talked about the pedal and stuff. And I don't know why he didn't say anything yes or no, and I don't know why I didn't say this in the video, but I probably should have. He paid $1,500 to Children's Cancer Research to be in that video, and so that's what we do a lot. Is we'll say, hey, look, a small builder like him will say, hey, why don't you make a donation? We'll let them do it in payments. That helps them too sometimes. And so the payment is based on what I think I'm going to sell in pedals. I go, look, you're going to make you know, 5, 10 grand on this easy. So why don't you donate this much to charity, and you can donate this, you know, maybe $500 up front and then the rest on the back or whatever. But that's how you're going to sponsor the video. So we'll sometimes do that deal a lot. And Guitars for Vets, we have one on the 4th of July coming, which is $1,000. They're going to donate $1,000 for Guitars for Vets. So I'm happy that we're able to do that, but I'm also sometimes, so, you know, I'm jealous. I'm envious of you because I really think that your time is more valuable than your money. And I really need to get off my ass and do some interactions with some vets and some guitar lessons like you're doing. I think that's actually, I think that would be better for me as a person and better to do. But so I just want to say thank you. And also I'm jealous because you're doing the thing I want to do. And I need to stop coming up with excuses and do it. And I'll figure out a way. M. Karras says, hey, I made a PRS Grissom Gold Top SE pre-order from Sweetwater. I hate this long lead pre-sale practice. Never done it before. Won't ever do it again. Still nothing. Yeah, that's because, I mean, come on. We sold the hell out of those guitars, didn't we? The YouTubers. That Dave Grissom guitar, there was so many YouTubers. Andre Flood did a video, and it was funny because he was like, he was coming at it the way I think he should. He was coming as a new YouTube channel. Look, as a new YouTube channel, the best thing you could do, KDH does this too, is knock a bigger channel off their pedestal, right? I don't mean actually attack them. That's not what I'm saying those guys are doing. And I'm not saying that's what you should do. What I'm saying is question what they do. You know, I love it. If you guys, I have YouTubers, I don't know if you know this, a little secret, for you guys that are not YouTube savvy. If you say my name in a video, I know it. I get a report every month. It tells me exactly what video said my name if you just said my name in a video, and I watch them. I interviewed John Mayer once, and he said he watches anything with his name on it on Instagram. And I thought, oh, that's funny. And then I realized later, I'm like, well, I always scan I'll do it every couple months. I'll check and go, you know, who was talking about me and what were they talking about? And what I constantly see is they'll go, Phil McKnight said, it's always Phil McKnight said this guitar was good. And they're really trying to debunk me. And I love it because I mean, not all the time. I know it's perfect, but I feel like I got a good average, like 80% of the time, 90% of the time. They're like, yeah, it's actually pretty good. But you should be skeptical. Look, man, be skeptical. I love when people are like, you're honest. I'm like, look, I appreciate you saying that. That's what I'm shooting for, but still be a skeptic. There's nothing wrong with being a skeptic. I don't take it personal. You know, double check me, fact check me. First of all, I could just screw up. That's enough right there. But mostly, like I said, as the channels get bigger, of course, you know, and of course your relationship with companies, there's all kinds of things that's going to hinder what you do and say. But my point is, what's my point? My point is that that's what I like about the newer channels is checking things. So Andre did a video of the Dave Grissom, and he was very skeptical too. He's like, they all say this is great. And he's like, yeah, it's great because it's a great guitar. So the bad news is you have to wait for him because literally you can't fake hype. You can't hype. No, fake. You can hype. You cannot fake the hype for too long, even on YouTube. It only lasts a little while. And if you notice the Dave Grissom's hype sticking, it's because it's a legit guitar. It's a really legit guitar. So I'm sorry you have to wait because they sold the crap out of those guitars and those, but it's worth it. So it's a good guitar. Damon says, hey, on 2 of my guitars, notes go sharp only on the first 4 or 5 frets and only on GB and E strings. Intonation seems right. Otherwise, is it the nut issue? Sounds to me like it is your nut slots are not cut deep enough. So you want to do that, the thing I showed you where you push down on the 3rd fret and you look at that gap between the 1st fret and the string. If that gap is really high, yes, you're going to be pushing everything sharp for sure. So that's what I would check. That's what I would do, your nut slots. Mr. S says, hey, as a metal aficionado, you and many folks here may enjoy the Dunables, I think that's how I'm saying it, Dunables retro style guitars with their variety of Argo pickups as a plus. Sasha Dunables, a heck of a nice guy. YouTube's 2 minutes, 2 late nights him play. Hold on, let me reread this. I'm just make sure I'm not missing anything. So Sasha's Dunables. Let me look this up. Let me see. It's one of those. Okay. What do we got here? We have... yeah, Dunable guitars. I'm looking at them. I don't know what I'm doing wrong because what I see are guitars that, I mean, You said metal. I was thinking like 80s metal or something. These don't look metal to me. I must be looking at the wrong ones. I'm afraid to show you what I'm looking at because I don't see what these look like Moserites or Fanos. I'll have to double check. When I'm timestamping this, I'll go check out though what you're talking about. So Dunnables retro style guitars. Oh, you said retro style. I just don't. You know what the problem is? I'm not connecting the whole metal to the retro style vibe. But I'll check him out, Mr. S. Mr. S also says, if you buy a Dave Mustaine guitar, are you required to keep the painful Mustaine versus Metallica debate alive? Yeah, I know. I hate it. That's the equivalent. That's the musical equivalent of Star Trek versus Star Wars, Metallica versus Megadeth. I love both. Absolutely. Both. Love both. Listen to both. Love them both. Right? Yeah, no. I have no, I'm not on the side of a fence other than I've seen them both live and I love them both. Also, Mr. S says, via John Turner, I don't know who that is, at Asian factories, are wage benefits and quality of life for the workers acceptable relative to the cost of living in those countries? This is one of those questions that I try to stay away from, and here's why. The question of how people are treated to make the things that we have is tough. First of all, it is constantly changing. The standards of changing, right? So what was being treated well, somebody was being treated well is now not. Somebody who was not maybe treated well. The thing that I hear constantly is, that like usually the argument is always with the Chinese guitar. The Chinese guitars are the thing that start the argument. So let's just start with this is just the easy way to approach this. Somebody's like, hey, when you buy a $200 guitar, it was on the backs of low paid labor, right? And this is absolutely true. We know that. We know that, as a society, we understand the concept. The problem for me, and this is why I'm not actually going to talk about this, like I said, because it's not something I'm versed in. So I'm going to explain why I do what I do, and hopefully that makes sense to you, why I review the guitars the way I do. First of all, I have a ton, and I mean a ton of friends that work at every major factory in this country. I don't think there's a single brand that exists in the US right now that I don't have a friend that works there. And I mean a friend, like somebody I talk to on the regular, somebody I'm close with, somebody I understand. And here's what I can tell you. None of them make enough money to sustain themselves doing what they do. They all have different ideologies about that. So some of my friends tell me that this is the price of doing what they love, and they just do it. And it's different depending on their occupation and the region. So for instance, all my friends that live in California basically can't make a living. One of my buddies who works at I'll just say not Fender. It's not Fender, right? They work at a large factory in California that's not Fender, and they said they love it there and everything's great, but they have to move they're trying to get remote work from the factory. They don't work in the actual factory, they work in the office area. They're trying to get remote work because they literally can't buy a house within 2 to 3 hours from there. So here's my point to this. When I do reviews, what I try to focus on is the guitar itself, the quality of the guitar, and the price and what you get and the value proposition. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to say this, and then we're going to end the show with this, because this is, again, maybe because there's 1,000 of you, but maybe I'm going to call you the diehard viewers, and maybe this will make sense to you. I don't dive down those rabbit holes. The rabbit hole I dive down is this. I focus on what is quality and what are you going to receive? And then I let you make your decisions based on everything. And if that's your pocketbook, fine. If that's your ideology on politics, fine, right? If that's your ideology on, whether you're a vegan or you eat meat, fine, right? Like I'm not here to judge you for anything. So, if you buy a guitar because this guitar uses no animal products and this one does, you decide that. I'm not going to decide anything for you. I only tell you what I do and why, and then I show you what I find with my experience, and then you make an educated decision. And the reason why that's important to me, and that's why I try to, like I said, I try not to put as many things in the video that are just so much me just giving the opinion. I want to give some information. Like I said, the whole geeky section is probably just give you information. Is that you can compare and contrast. So you can literally look at two different products I review and go, okay, this product, I don't like the country's political beliefs, so I'm not going to buy the guitar. That's on you. I'm not going to talk about that. You have to make that decision and educate yourself on that. I'm just going to show you that the guitar was either good or bad. One thing that I think is interesting is that one thing that I find people don't really pay attention to on the channel that I find odd is I review a lot of inexpensive guitars. And if you really pay attention to all the guitars I review, most of the inexpensive guitars do not pass. They have tons and tons of problems. And most of the problems that I'm pointing out are in contrast and actually at contrast to what the manufacturer's stating. So they're actually not what the contract or the factory is promising, the company's promising. But I figure I'll just say, say the information, make your decision. So I hope that makes sense. Like I said, I do care about all those things, and I do privately talk about those things with friends, and we try to see what we can do to make the world a little better place, but right now, this channel, the way it's designed to really just talk about guitars, the quality and information that you can make in decisions. And then, like I said, that's why I tell you guys where those guitars are made so that you can figure that out. And if I can, what I would like to do, and I'm trying to focus more on it, is to tell you what factories guitars are made at so you can make decisions about factories more so than anything else. So. Okay, and then Mr. S is saying the Dunables don't look metal, but they sound metal. Oh, cool. Like I said, I'll check them out. I think that sounds cool. And then we got two last super chats. Let me knock those out. Any experience with the reissue Kramers? I have a Kramer curse. You're asking, I'm sorry, you picked the wrong channel. I have a Kramer curse. I have not been able to get my hands on any good Kramers. I bought a great Kramer used, and then there's a video on that. It talks about how that was actually ended up going to a friend, and then I got another Kramer. I got the Dave Sabo Kramer, and it had a defect and had to go back. So so I have a Kramer curse, and I don't think it's going to ever get fixed because now I have a Badlands guitar, and essentially that's a Kramer. So that's the guitar. Like I got, so when I think of my guitars on the wall, I think of my Badlands as being like a Kramer style guitar. Any experience with reissue Kramers? No. Just snagged a Beretta off Sweetwater, and I swear it's better than the one my friend was playing in '89. It's possible. I reviewed, a viewer sent me one of the really inexpensive Kramers, and it failed like a turd. It was bad, but it was the $199 one. So I'm, like I said, I love most of the guitars that come out of Indonesia. I like the quality of the Indonesian factories, especially Cortec. And so a lot of those probably are coming out of Cortec. It's possible. So really curious, but I don't know. Maybe I need to buy some Kramers and put them on the channel. Who knows? Let me know in the comments. This is from Grumpy Digger, who says, hey, mate, have you played I say, hey, mate, the most like lame American way you can say, hey, mate. Like I don't even do I don't know. Anyways, hey, mate. It says, have played a US Fender Stratocaster, the Yellowbird of 71. Had mine years now, the Mexico, but nice with the 65 Deluxe. Our hats coming to Australia. Oh, okay. So I don't understand. I understand what you're saying about the guitar. Hats, Australia. I don't have any clue. I know the problem is the shipping is crazy. So my wife is working on the shipping. So I don't know. Oh, I was going to say on a Kramer note, I did play one Kramer last year at the Sweetwater event. And I do have a Kramer curse because I'm like, wait a minute, there's a video of me playing a Kramer, right? I think there's a video of me playing a great Kramer, but I think the problem was the video was too short to make a standalone video. So I don't know. All right. Amanda says, at least you didn't say it like a pirate. Yeah. Yeah. So, on that note, we'll call it. It's been 2 hours. And I want to thank everybody for hanging out. I will be here same time next Friday. Like I said, I'll be in California tomorrow, but it's a fast flip. I'm just going to go there, check out 25 Badlands guitars, and then I'll be back in my truck and back on the road back here. So that's how I'm gonna do it. It's in and out. And then I think I'm back again to do the next 25 guitars. I'm not sure how that works out. But I'll let you guys know, that's for sure. As always, I want to thank all of you for hanging out and your time. I hope you enjoyed whatever the hell we did today. I feel like it was more all over the place than normal, but maybe I'm wrong. And as always, I'll see you next Friday, and know your gear.